All right, Lacrosse the Bay podcast. We're getting into our rhythm. This is I guess two this week. I don't know. We're shooting for Wednesdays, but either way, Billy, we figured we'd get on to a little touch base, State of the Union.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. What's new in your world?
Not much. We're fighting for spring up here in the state of Maine. It hasn't quite hit yet, but lacrosse season is on the horizon. I got 2 weeks until I can work with the high school goalies, and then 3 weeks until I've got the full team on the field. So that's exciting, and been coaching some youth stuff on the weekends, which has been good. And now we just need some warmer weather, and we'll be rolling.
So you're allowed to coach goalies before the season starts? Like they give you a head start to work with the goalies?
New this year. So because what it was for baseball, they always had a week of pitchers and catchers. So some of these main lacrosse coaches were like, hey, can we get a week for goalies, which I think is great. I think it'll be actually this Wednesday night I met with all the York high school coaches, and there's 5 of us. 2 of them like to focus on the goalies, so they're all kind of psyched about that week to get those guys going and sort of give them their own pre-practice routine and some drills and some things to work on. So I think it'll help us a lot to get a head start with the keepers before the full team hits the field.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Nice. And what is the weekend training with the younger kids been like? What is that indoor stuff?
Yep, I've been working with 4-leaf lacrosse at the Sports Dome in Hooksett, New Hampshire, and
Hooksett. That's a good New Hampshire name right there.
Big time. Yeah, I think Hooksett's where I think the rest stop is right in Hooksett, where you kind of like. New Hampshire's got some pretty good pull-off rest stops that have just all kinds of, food and, legit indoor snacks and like shops going on. I think Hooksett's got one of those. But the Sports Dome's where kind of we convene on first Sunday trainings with 4-leaf. So I had some 8th graders with Mike O'Brien. Me and him were paired up coaching a bunch of these guys last Sunday. And it was good because they're, these guys are all going to play on the same summer squad. And I guess, it's a big group of kids. There's like 50 of them. So really it's 2 teams, like the Army, the top team, and the Navy, which I don't think has quite been worked out yet. I'm not really involved in that side of it. I just coach them up. But, a lot of skill drills to start. We had 4 hours with them, and then getting into some
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours. Well, I guess 3.5 because they had a half-hour lunch, but 10 to 2. So a lot of skill drills, like kind of some fun keep away stuff to start practice off. 3v2s, 4v3s. Can't move your feet on the outside, then you can, and sort of like changing the confines of the space. Did a really fun drill at the start of practice last week where the cages were facing back to back. So it was a 3-on-3 inside a big circle. You can score on either goal. Cages back to back. Coaches were rolling balls in, and it was just kind of like rapid fire. A lot of goals. Pretty cool because you could get open on the other side of the cage and shoot on the other goalie, and quick reps, 3-on-3, 45 seconds, 30 seconds, get them in, get them out. So yeah, it was cool. It was a cool. I think it must have been Singer designed the practices, but at the first session was a lot of kind of smaller, smaller sided stuff, and then in the second half of practice started working on some more concepts, like 3v2 or 3v3, then 3, 4v4, but like the motions of the offense that he's putting in with these guys. So it was fun to get out there, and I don't think I'll be with those guys during the summer. I think Mike, who I was coaching with, is gonna be one of the coaches for that age group. So it's also good for those coaches to get to know the kids during the spring, and then they end up coaching them throughout the summer. So yeah, fun thing to be a part of, and it's got me locked into lacrosse mode with the stick in my hand. So I'm going. Today's Friday, so I'll be back out there again tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, I'm coaching 7th and 8th graders this spring, and I've really been enjoying the age group. Usually I don't, in the past couple years, I haven't been able to coach a team like full on, because I think we've had difficulty like finding coaches. We just don't have as many lacrosse coaches here in this part of California. So in the past, I've kind of been like patching holes when guys can't make it and things like that. But this year, I finally was able to like carve out some time and work with the team. And we have our Salinas program, and then we have our Peninsula program, which Peninsula is comprised of Monterey, Carmel, PG, kind of that area. But this year, we just didn't quite have enough 14U players, like 7th and 8th graders, to make a full team in each area. So we combined. There was about like 10 Salinas boys and 10 Peninsula boys. And so combined them to make one team. The good thing is that we've got good players from both areas. Like our roster is really, really awesome. The thing that's tricky is that we have to do one practice out in Salinas and then one practice here on the peninsula, and just traffic is funky, at times when we're trying to practice. But I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna steer the ship on this one and make sure that these guys get a really good spring experience, and it's been really fun for me. I think it's really interesting. Right, it's like this transition point where you can see they're getting athletically developed, and they're starting to get ready for high school, and they're starting to understand concepts. I just have really been enjoying coaching this age group. It's definitely a fun one.
Yeah, I think you can, that like middle school, 7th, 8th grade especially, you can like, I was saying it to somebody, even in like a 4-hour session, like you can see a kid get a lot better. I think it's like a kind of a stage that can be, big steps improvement wise, which is cool to see. So
yeah, we have one kid on our team who he's been playing for a couple years, but he just kind of like came out and was like, I want to play long pole. And I mean, he got a long pole, put his, we took the shorty off the top, and took the head off of his shorty, put it on a long pole. And I mean, this kid is such a long stick midi. It's incredible. Like, it's just, he's perfect for it. And it's kind of like, you can't really see that at that, like, it's hard to have a kid where, that's going to settle into that position at younger ages, like he's big enough that he can wield the long pole. He's also just like athletic where he can go between the boxes, and you're just like, wow, this is definitely going to be your position. So that's cool to see kids kind of like starting to settle in those different specialized positions. Whereas I think sometimes, we try and, I don't know who we is, but sometimes kids are kind of picking up long poles a little too early and things like that. I think letting kids settle into their different specialized positions for the full field game, I think is cool to see at 7th and 8th grade. So
is it this group you have? Are they a summer squad? They're gonna play together this summer, or is it training for the?
Yeah, this is the spring rec. This is the spring rec team. Gotcha. So tomorrow, or this weekend we're playing the Santa Cruz team. This past weekend was our first game. We played against Hollister. We lost by 2.
Hollister, like the clothing brand.
That's right. Yeah. But Hollister, California, I think it feels a little bit different than the clothing brand. They've definitely got like a a Texas vibe going on up there.
Growing up, number 22 was always my number. So, and Hollister, for some reason, has 22 on all of their stuff. So I think I still have like a Hollister sweatshirt
There
somewhere
you go.
that's it's just the number 22 on it.
Yeah, shout out to the Hollister Hogs is the town rec team, and Todd Blumberg he started it. He's from Penn Yan, New York. So like Brett Queen, grew up. He's older, but like Brett Queener is from Penn Yan. There's a couple other guys from that area, and he's just been doing a really good job, growing the game in Hollister. And then he's got another guy, Brian DeCarly, who's been helping out, who has a son in the program. I think he does PE in either the middle or the high school, but they've just been doing a really good job of integrating the youth program, into the high school, and but we got a matchup against them in a week, so I'm hoping to
Who's like the top dog for? Would you call yourself Mid Coast California? Like, where's the hotbed?
Central Coast. The Central Coast of California. I think we're building it right now. The Bay Area, obviously, it's a city, so they've got a lot of. It's a city, so they've got a lot of resources. There are more coaches that have played, but down here, it really just kind of goes year to year. It's whichever youth team kind of has a really a good kind of class of kids, like they tend to kind of dominate. We're pretty strong. I think we'll be pretty strong by the end of the season. I think it's the arc of the season. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of last weekend, was definitely not our best game of lacrosse, but that wasn't really my intention. I think I wanted to get everybody out there, see what we had. This is the thing that's really difficult about coaching a full season of full field lacrosse for kids who are learning the game. It's not just, going up and down and scoring goals and stopping goals. Like, you need a man up, you need a man down, like, you need guys, you need your long poles, you need your goalie. It's pretty complex when you get to that level. It's awesome, and I think I'm looking forward to the season. Like, I feel like we figured out an offense that works for us. But with youth and rec, you got 2 months, so you really got to kind of make it count. So.
Yeah, I was thinking Wednesday night when I was out with the high school coaches, kind of just prepping and looking at the season. It's crazy how short it is. It's like,
Yeah.
if for us it starts end of March, and if you make it to the state championship, you get to play till like the 14th of June. So it's 2.5 months, really. It's short and sweet. So it does go by quick.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm in lacrosse season, and Stevenson School, we've had 2 high school games, which has been good. I've been running the substitution box. Typically at goalie coach, we've got a guy who's been doing the defense. He's been doing a really good job. Cooper, our head coach, does the head coaching thing. We've got Coach Bissett, who kind of floats around and does different things, but nobody was really running the box, and I was kind of like, I'm just going to I do not like running the substitution box. It's like counting players, like making sure who's going out, making those decisions. But I just kind of stepped in, and it's opportunity for growth.
It can be fun. I used to do it those first 2 years out of college when I was coaching at Roger Williams. I was coaching the offense, but running the box too, and I kind of got into it. I liked it. You can kind of play with matchups and stuff like that, and if you got the guys kind of dialed in, you can get a lot of advantages. Using the box, kind of do some sneaky things sometimes too. On the clear
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So it's fun too. You got to be, I think, on the same page with your players a little bit.
totally.
But I even like still sort of do it even as the head coach a little bit. I think partly because like nobody else really wants to, but and partly because I like it, but I think
Yeah.
last year we had Jake, we had a former player come back and help us coach at the end of the year. He was running the box, but yeah, it's like it's one of those jobs where like it is tough, and if you like get too many people on or something, everybody's looking at the box coach like, what are you doing? But
Totally.
it's it can be fun, and I think you can do a lot with it too. So embrace it. You got to embrace it.
I am, yeah, and I think it's a fun way to be really active in the game. It's
Yeah,
like so many years of just yelling from the sidelines, just like trying to influence what is happening on the field, and like maybe 5% of that, like doing it. It's like it's cool, yeah, and it's interesting the communication with your players. So Stevenson's definitely like the strongest team in our league, and so the past two games. We've gotten pretty good leads, and so one thing that we don't have a JV team this year though, and so we've got some players who are newer, and so my my job in these games is getting these kids out there and getting them repetitions, and you still starters, like I don't blame them, like they still want to get those runs,
right.
get an extra goal or whatever it is, so and the first game I was doing, I was getting a little frustrated, but then, this past game, I was like, okay, this is like setting it up very clearly, and like rotations and things like that. And it's just, I think that stuff is, that's why we coach, it's interesting. You're communicating with your players and doing it in an authentic way to get what you want done. It's not an easy thing, but when you kind of figure out it's definitely rewarding. So
Where you pull in the whole, I feel like when you're winning, it's like you start mixing in some of the weaker, less experienced guys with like you put like maybe say you got like a 7 or 8 goal lead, you put like two of the less experienced, maybe younger guys with like one
yeah,
of your really good players, and like tell him like, hey, like I need you to kind of like be a leader out here, make sure everybody's in the right spots, and like I feel like that's a good way for younger guys to grow, because and sort of like find that balance, when you're winning. Your first line midfielder would love to go out there and hang 36 goals on the other
totally.
team and pad the stats, but like you can sometimes manage that by being like, these, putting these two freshmen out with you, Jimmy, and you're kind of the first line midi here, and I need you to make sure these guys are getting to their spots, and we're moving the ball around and running our O and that kind of deal.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think the trying to set it up for um, getting them, I guess, like one thing that I realized is like I would start the a period, like start the quarter, like starting unit to do the face off, so you like get some like get start off on a good foot. Like I made that mistake
Yeah,
one period where it's like I kind of like had a weaker line out there, and they scored, and it's like, okay, if a team scores right off the bat in a quarter, they get a little they get a little momentum, right, and it's like, okay, how do you keep that forward momentum going in a win, and also like bring those players along in it. So yeah, doing
right.
exactly what you said, like kind of putting these lines together where it's balanced, and then also guys who are usually D middies, okay, giving them some offensive midi runs, and just like kind of really that player development thing. It's really it's interesting. It's kind of like running a JV squad, with like during a game, during a varsity game. It's like it's
So
cool
you
though.
guys, was it like a numbers thing? Like you didn't have enough for the JV squad, so you've got like a big varsity kind of.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think and that's kind of what we struggle with here in Central California is you kind of it's like the whatever the cow and the python. It's like some years like you've got like this, you got a big group of players, and in other years you don't have as many. So and
Did
that's
you say that the
that's
cow and the python?
yeah.
Some West Coast talk. I don't know if I've heard that one.
Do you understand what I'm the metaphor?
I don't think I'm getting it.
So it's like a python eats a cow, and it's got this big lump in its stomach, and so it's like
Oh,
as it passes through, right? And so that's kind of the what we deal with, where different schools will be really competitive and like have um, be a really solid lacrosse program, and then these kids graduate and there's nothing left
yeah, yeah,
coming behind it, right? So
yeah,
and right, that's like talk my own book, but that's Lacrosse the Bay is trying to even that out a little bit, where you have 3 or 4 kids who show up to campus, um, not just at the school where I'm coaching, but like at any school where they consider themselves lacrosse players, right? And
yeah.
and that makes a huge difference versus putting sticks in kids' hands their freshman year. And don't get me wrong, I think that's great. And the other thing that we're really fortunate about is all of these high school lacrosse programs exist, right? It's not like we have a youth program where we have to like fight, to get high school programs established. We have the places for these kids to go. So, but yeah, cow and the python. Maybe
Got a new.
the pig and the python. Maybe that's a better one. I like that that alliteration a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the best.
Yeah. Um, but I also another part of Lacrosse the Bay that I have this weekend. Our first, well, actually, so this past weekend we had the Salinas Shootout, which was awesome. I thought it was really. We had a taco truck, had short field games going, and then switched it to like a full field. Um, it was just kind of like it was cool. Like it was almost like it felt like a lacrosse tournament, except it wasn't a tournament, right? It was just like a lot of people, in the stands watching their kids, and we played at this stadium called Rabobank Stadium, and it was only the players and the coaches could go on the field. We had like some team parents and stuff like that, but the parents were just in the stands, and I think that was really good. Like it felt just like it felt like a little bit more relaxed. Like, I don't have kids, so I don't know, what parents go through, mentally when it comes to, sports and their kids. Like,
They're all losing their minds. It seems like. I'm just kidding.
well, there's, I think it's difficult right now. Yeah, I think being worried, whatever it is, whether it's being a helicopter parent, or being worried about your kid being left behind, whatever it is, I just felt like it was a really healthy thing when the kids just went on the field and they were with their coaches and they were with the kids and they were just playing the games, and the parents were up in the stands and they were just watching, and
Eating
it was
tacos.
just eating tacos, and it felt just like it felt good. Like there didn't feel like a lot of stress or anything like that. Whereas we've had practices where parents are on the field, and there's feedback coming from the sideline and stuff like that, and it just makes my job and like the coach's job a little bit more difficult. So I felt like that was really positive. But then overall, it was cool. Like I think we had like 400 people there over the course of the day, and
That's a lot.
yeah, like so just trying to create, like I said, we're growing the game, so it's like how do we make the game, you know, more fun, or just kind of like that experience. So
Yeah, you gotta love it. I mean, I was kind of like joking around a little bit with parents losing their minds. I mean, some of them I feel like they do. They take it a little too seriously, but it's also like,
well, New England too. I mean, like yeah, New England is it also like my experience coaching in New England was pretty wild at times, but
yeah. But I mean, I've like for me, I've been at least where I'm at now. I've been lucky where it's like I would say like 99% of my experience with parents in the town I'm in has been smooth sailing, and it's an awesome kind of community.
yeah,
But I was thinking too. I work with a woman who her son's recently gotten into lacrosse pretty big, and he got on a club team this past fall, and she's just like, I can't believe all the travel. Like, it's like the whole weekend. I got to spend it at this, I'm going to freaking UMass or whatever. And then, her tone kind of changed like halfway through the fall, where she was having fun with like the parents at the, like they're
Mm-hmm.
tailgating, whatever, they're there for the whole day, but they're,
Right.
whatever, they went to the brewery, and, she's like kind of, she went from being like, what, this is crazy, to being into it, and she's having fun with it. So it's like, lacrosse or any sport, I guess you can sort of cultivate that atmosphere where it's just a good vibe, and the kids are having fun and they're playing, and the parents are having fun too. So
Yeah, the camaraderie. Yeah.
yeah,
So that was our big thing that we did last weekend, and then the big one coming this weekend is K through 2 intro to lacrosse. Um, and
the peanuts, as Marshall called them.
yeah, the Peanut Stadium. So we've got 40 kids, K through 2. Um, about even split, 20 girls, 20 boys. And like the K through 2 program is the engine for growth when it comes to our program, at least I think.
Yeah,
But man, the amount of work that goes into it, it's just there's a lot of setup. You need like more coaches. Like I think we do like a 1-to-5 coaching ratio.
you got to get the high school kids, Sky, because that's what in our town, at least, they do it every Saturday. I think it's like 9 to 10 or something. It's
Yeah.
not a lot, but our kids go. I get like 5 or 6 of them every Saturday to just go.
We've got some high schoolers,
Nice.
which is good. Yeah, we got three. Basically, we have 3 high school boys and 3 high school girls, and then we have like kind of like a lead coach for the boys and girls. So there's four coaches total for for 20 kids. But we also outfit all the. This is kind of like what I'm figuring out right now is like getting enough helmets for all these little like these 20 boys. Girls it's easy. It's like goggles, you're good. Like I just ordered a bunch of goggles off of Amazon. They'll be here tomorrow, and we're good. But boys, like, so I'm hunting down some helmets right now, and
So
like
it's like they're not coming with their own. You're dishing them out and taking them back at the end.
exactly, yeah, a lot of
Gotcha.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's like supplying your own equipment, that's $500.
Yeah.
So and that's how we've really been able to get traction and get kids to sign up is, and I think especially at this age group, like we've done younger programs in the past, but at least for boys, um, you know, I think what really gets them hooked is when they've got their armor on and they're kind of going to battle. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think we've done no pad stuff in the past with boys and girls, and it's fun in like Scoops Lacrosse. Like I think they do some really cool stuff for really young kids, and I think we might try and do some of that for even younger. But it's just kind of like let's just if we're gonna get these boys out here playing young, like let's just get them suited up. So kind of really like sowing the seeds of our future players. But I mean, it's just like all this equipment. And it's absolute chaos for the first like 20 minutes of the first one. And my truck is just filled with like, you know, 8 mini nets. We do like 4 fields. We got all the mini nets. And then we've got all this equipment. But I
Sounds
will
awesome.
say it's one of the best feelings is when you got a kid suited up and you strap on their helmet for the first time. It's like when
Yeah.
you click that button, like if anybody who's put on a lacrosse helmet, or any helmet knows like that sound, and these kids are so young, like you got to kind of get them set up for them. And when you snap a helmet on for the first time, there's no better feeling. So, I'm venting my my stress a little bit about this program because it's just wild, and it's really difficult to run, but ultimately it's really worth it. So
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, and you can't beat it. A bunch of little guys running around, having a blast. And, if they pick it up that early, like something about, the brain and everything, it's like you learning a language when you're young. If you learn how to use that lacrosse stick when you're little, like you kind of like you can really be something with it if you stick with it. So it's cool.
totally, and it's also I mean I think like growing the game has been a phrase in the lacrosse world for so long, but when you really start to get into it and like what it takes, it's really interesting. Like, so number one, like you said, like picking up a stick young, and soccer, you can start soccer at like age 3 or 4, and so we're trying to start kids earlier, so it's like it's not as intimidating, and they get a couple years, and then the second thing is, eventually, like kids, at least if we're growing numbers in our program, like kids age out each year. So however many eighth graders we have leave our program each year, and you need to replace those kids if the program is going to continue, and this goes for all sports, right? If even though kids might not go on to play in the NFL, if this is a big reason why they've been doing flag football stuff, right? Is because CTE and all stuff like that, contact football youth programs, shrinking. Like the NFL, like if they're going to have fans, like they need kids to play football and be into it, and so you need to bring kids constantly into the sport. And with lacrosse, that's Scoops. It's really cool to see what Scoops has done, but a lot of like rec programs, like you got to start young, and it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to Marshall at Beach Dogs camp with the megaphone like we talked about. Just all peanuts report to Peanut Stadium.
Seriously, I might have to get a megaphone for this weekend. I think that might be like my director purchase to
not
make
gonna
this
hurt.
easy on
Not
myself.
gonna hurt. You can just bust it out really when you need it. You don't need to have it with you all the time. Just it's like you got it if you need it.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I got you. Break glass in case of emergency. All right. Well,
All
all right. Well, this is a good catch up, Bill. We're working on some interviews coming up, so we'll have those coming. But in the meantime, have fun. Lacrosse season is here, and yeah,
See you, everybody.
we out.
The Bruins just traded Charlie Coyle.
I'm not a hockey fan,
That's a big one, Sky, because he's a Weymouth, Mass.
Weymouth.